the no source of income ordinance that would drop landlords' abilities to reject somebody who is looking to be a tenant with a housing voucher. But then the bigger part of it, I mean, they're both issues for their own reasons, I would say. But the other part of it, too, is you would not be able to theoretically reject a tenant for the simple reason that they have a criminal background. We know there are people all over the country, including in Kansas City, who have a criminal background, who need a place to live, who want to get back on their feet and be contributing members of society. We know that. The question is this the right way to do it? Melissa Patterson Hazley is the 3rd District at-large councilwoman. She is new to the city council here in the last few months. She joins us on KCMO. Councilwoman, good morning. Thanks for being on KCMO. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for the invitation, Pete. This should be fun.
It will be. So just start off, where are you at right now on this? Concerns that you have about this ordinance and where your head is at hearing everything you've heard here the last couple of weeks?
You know, my overarching concern is that I think the public, outside of the sponsoring organization, I think the public is confused about what the ordinance actually does. And so I've spent a lot of time talking to people just trying to figure out what is their understanding of the ordinance language, you know, and how can we get on the same page as to what the ordinance is actually trying to do and what it in effect, what effect it will have on landlords in particular. So I've been talking to, you know, African-American landlords in particular over here in the 3rd District, trying to figure out what are their thoughts on the ordinance and what are their understanding. And there is some confusion. Well,
confusion is fair. Is concern also something that you're hearing? I mean, to me, whether it's the 3rd District or anywhere else, you know, landlords all over the city have reason to be potentially concerned. So what are you hearing there in the 3rd District about this?
Yeah, so the concerns here in the 3rd District. So first of all, let me say, the 3rd District, we are very Section 8 housing voucher friendly. A lot of our homes are already, a lot of our landlords are already participating, not 100% of their properties, which rightfully, because I'm a big believer in mixed income neighborhoods. So not if you have 10 properties, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of them are Section 8 eligible. And so I think the concern is that forcing someone's hand. I think that's the concern. Because we're already Section 8 friendly, I feel like there's a missing voice in what actually does it mean when you have to place all of your properties into the program. You know, what kind of financial impact does that have on you? You know, the inspections, the different very specific renovations. You know, I might have a perfectly safe plug in my bathroom, but, you know, HUD may want me to put in the other type of plug with I don't know what they're called, but it's a different type of upgrade. And so what kind of cost is that going to have on that landlord? You know, and also if we talk about redlining, I think we have to include the conversation that African-American people have purchased 1 or 2, 4 properties, and it's a wealth building strategy. And so how are we interfering with their strategy to build wealth and money that they've invested? So I think there's just a little bit more nuance to that part of the discussion that I'm trying to bring forward.
Well, I think that's incredible nuance that needs to be brought forward for the reasons that you're listing out. I mean, the advocates of this are making this out to be all about redlining, racial, white versus black. And you're right there in the 3rd District. And you know, as you've noted, dozens of black landlords who are helping black Kansas Cityans in many cases in their properties. And they've got the same issues and same concerns that landlords of all backgrounds in Kansas City have right now. I mean, I think that's fascinating. And I hope that this point is getting across. Do you feel like it is?
Not yet. I've got to, you know, my approach to government, you know, I try to go slow. I try to talk to people. I try to ask questions. I try to explain. And that's what I'm in the process of doing. I knew kind of my gut because, I mean, obviously I've been black all my life, so I can kind of lean on my personal experience. But I wanted to go out and verify. You know, I wanted to go out and talk to people that my hunch was right and that we needed some kind of fix to make sure African-American landlords who are also marginalized for the very same reasons have an advocate too. and that we can figure out how to come together and make this thing work. I mean, nobody should be discriminated against for one particular trait or thing that they've done. And obviously, everyone needs a place to live. Those things are not debatable in my mind. It's how do you get there? And how do you make sure that you are not inadvertently hurting, you know, a subset of the people that you're trying to help? You know, that's where I'm at. Like, let's not make a mistake that we don't see. You know, because the big conversation is overshadowing these little nuances. So that's kind of where I am in the conversation.
The unintended consequences.
And glad to be on your show so that I can explain where I'm coming from and get people to pay attention to that group of people that are going to get affected.
And I think that's an incredibly important point to make, and it's kind of getting lost in this, you know, us versus them mentality that the big picture ultimately turns into. And you're absolutely right with all of those points. So right now, as you're sitting here, Melissa, and Melissa Patterson Hazley, 3rd District at-large councilwoman, is on KCMO. Some people are trying to force this thing to a vote as early as tomorrow. I mean, if that happens, where are you at?
Well, you know, at least two others of my colleagues, at least, maybe more. I'm going to be on 22 today trying to see where we all are, but I don't think that there's a majority of the council that want this to fail. Let me start there. I think that rightfully there's just some more conversation we should have. There are some more voices that should be at the table to help shape what we're doing, because that's how you do government, in my opinion. If you're going to make rules, you should talk to the people that are being affected by it. That's both the people in the industry and the people that have to participate in the industry as a consumer. You need both of those voices, right? And so people have approached me, and they're like, now I'm talking about African-American landlords. I'm not talking about, you know, big suppliers of 1,000 units. I'm just talking about regular Miss Johnson that owns a sixplex for 60 years. I'm talking about her. They want to know, well, where is the table I can go to so that I can participate in the conversation? Like, who's convening that group? And honestly, I'm stumped. We're not convening them, which you're supposed to have an answer as an elected leader, and I don't have one. And so I do want to see if there's an opportunity for a few more voices to come to the table, just so that when we do, you heard the mayor talk about a business session, you heard the mayor talk about going through the committee subs and making sure we all understand it, that we're all okay with it. There were a couple of points made by attorneys in the audience that were worth looking at. So I think we do need to discuss those things, quite frankly. I think a January 11th debate is a better time frame, given Christmas and New Year's Eve, you know, just so that we can get it right. That's not to try to avoid it, because it's coming. It's something that a lot of people want. And to be fair, nobody over here in the third that I've talked to has said kill it. That's not the attitude. The attitude is, can we participate, and so that our properties are safe. One guy told me that, you know, if he would have all of his properties with one kind of level of income, you know, you miss a month or two, it really could wipe you out personally, because you're not a big boy. Yeah. You know, you're financing this stuff personally. So it could, you know, if you don't have a mix, they're explaining, it could blow back on not only you losing your investment, but you having a personal financial consequence as well, your own credit score in trouble, defaulting on loans that you've taken out. So I just want to get that out in the atmosphere for discussion. Well,
Councilwoman, we appreciate you sharing it here on KCMO Talk Radio, and we're grateful for your time, and we'll be in touch here in the weeks ahead. Thanks so much for being on KCMO.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
You as well. That is Councilwoman Melissa Patterson Hazley, 3rd District at Large. We appreciate her being on.